Alright everyone, it's time for the Occult video number 354, Richard Ramirez as an actual devil worshipper. Now I've already covered like Berkowitz, and most often when we look at serial killers or similar criminal figures, especially during the Satanic Panic, Ramirez being one of the main figures of it, most often what you're seeing is people who claim the devil made them do it to try to get off on an insanity defense, or people who were effectively like edgelord or edgelord adjacent. That's what I personally think, for instance, about Berkowitz, and that comes back in the 70s. It's technically pre-Satanic Panic at large. He probably had accomplices. The cult aspect, I do believe, is probably real, although it's not proven. They haven't looked into it enough, I suppose. That he didn't worship the devil. Never even claimed to. His initial claim was that he was effectively possessed. Well, it's a little bit different from worshiping the devil. I don't believe he was possessed or understood much about demonology. His limited association with what could loosely be termed the occult, again, seems to have verged in on the edgelord side of things, like reading the Satanic Bible. Well, the Church of Satan is an atheistic organization. You're not going to get possessed by the being that they do not believe even exists. But Richard Ramirez is different, also known as the Night Stalker, killing a number of people and attempting to kill several more. By the way, definitely one hell of a ladies' man somehow, even though apparently he was missing most of his teeth by the time he was middle-aged, because he would eat like a bunch of junk food. When he was like on the run, he was like basically slumming it on the sofa, surrounded by candy wrappers. Somehow he still had a huge amount of female attention. It's not entirely clear why. I think that there are some wingnuts out there, and some of them probably more dangerous than Richard Ramirez, to tell the truth. He was a devil worshipper. Of course, he died, I think, 3 years ago. Can't remember exactly which year he died. A little pentagram on his hand was quite telling. He made it fairly clear and unapologetic that yes, indeed, the particular figure of the devil is why he was doing what he was doing. He did venerate a literal devil, theistically believed in it, and in a negative, occult or supernatural force associated with that he felt was influencing him to do what he did, and did it in adoration and praise of evil, effectively. So he is an actual devil worshipper. When we look at Satanism / devil worship / Luciferianism, we have to differentiate, though, between different grades and different classes of people. You have atheistic Satanism, which is the vast bulk. There is no devil believed in to be worshipped. If you believe in a devil causing all evil in the world, although the Bible claims God is also the author of all evil in the world, that's fine. But these individuals, if they do something negative, they don't feel inspired by the devil. They can't be. They don't believe in a devil. You have certain pagan groups that are effectively Luciferian, that delve into things like Enki. You got the Joy of Satan people and similar groups. They venerate maybe the dark side of a religion or a figure that would be associated loosely, like you could compare it with the Christian Satan. Most often that's after reinterpreting Satan as the good guy of the Bible and saying, well, this fallen angel basically tried to liberate people and did nothing wrong, and God was trying to keep Adam and Eve ignorant, and the God is the one that's evil and crazy. And then they find some similar, potentially pagan deity that loosely, sort of correlates in one or more ways with Satan, and they venerate it. If they do something bad, again, you can claim that all evil comes from the Christian devil if you believe in that, and blame it on, in part, demonic influence. But they wouldn't believe that that's why they're doing what they're doing. But then you have Richard Ramirez and people like him, and these people are more authentic devil worshippers. They are sometimes influenced, sometimes they're just screwed up psychologically, has to do with upbringing, sometimes profuse drug use, often both. In some cases there is cult activity. There's usually a general familiarity with the symbolism of the occult, but there's no genuine understanding of the broader occult. That is, if they did understand that, they would understand why the things that they were doing fell well outside of the realm of any proper philosophical occultism, showing effectively a lack of self-control. They would be able to investigate their own psyche from a detached perspective and realize not just what they believed in or wanted to do, but why. and then to use critical thinking to try to take care of that situation before they end up in prison in supermax for the rest of their miserable lives. But make no mistake, he believed in a literal devil, acted in the literal devil's name. It just happens to be the stereotypical, slightly Hollywood-esque devil that is interpreted in maybe the fire and brimstone teaching tradition. It's not the biblically coherent devil. It's certainly not the Luciferian figure as reinterpreted by liberation movements. It's not the devil even like the Dante sense or something. It's like the little red man who makes you do bad things. And, praise Satan, I suppose, according to Richardramirez. It's interesting. If you contact Satanists, which are not the same as devil worshippers in general, even the theistic ones, oftentimes you're going to find a bunch of people who prefer to wear suits and go to the New Romantic Club or something like that. It can be kind of hipsterish, actually, at times, and they would not probably want to associate with the kind of people that tend towards this particular grain of devil worship. It's really more in common with that very troubled kid in high school that used to torture animals and was all edgy and may have shot up his school or something. But that's, again, you have to believe in a literal devil to associate it with anything beyond the claim of devil worship. But Ramirez definitely does fulfill that niche role. Interestingly, he's one of only a very small number of people who was ever part of the serial killer panic, was adjacent to the 1980s especially, and into the 90s to an extent. One of the very few that actually did conform to the societal expectation of the dark, depraved, edgy person who literally worships Satan and now does terrible things in his name. In other cases, you've had people that have done terrible things. They're proclaimed to be devil worshippers or at least demoniacs or something. Sometimes they're Christian ministers. So keeping that in mind, there's not necessarily an accurate judgment or appraisal of the average person who's involved with this kind of crime. Ramirez is one of the examples. Basically, it's a broken clock effect. You call every serial killer demoniac, and occasionally you get one that really does feel that they're possessed or is acting in the name of Lucifer. Of course, not quite the same as Satan. I've already gotten into that on separate videos. You look back through the catalog and see that. Again, I decided that I wanted to do some of the cult and serial killer side of things as far as my occult videos go. I'm also going to do Parsons and a few others. Of course, he's not a criminal, but there's just a wackadoodle. Trust me, I'll get into that in some depth. I wanted to get into that side of things because it's interesting. It is directly adjacent to periods of time of persecution of people who actually practiced various spiritualities outside of the mainstream orthodoxy. And so Richardramirez, yes. Serial killer, yes. Devil worshipper, yeah, absolutely. We finally found one. That's about all. Peace out.